views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Good morning, it's the BLS, the Bob Lee Show. How you doing, everybody? Welcome to Open, the one and only show that opens up the Bronx and the world to you. I'm your host, the Dr. Bob Lee from 107.5 WVLS. You can catch me on each and every night right after the Quiet Storm. But today we have a fantastic show in store for you. Coming up on today's show, City Council member Andrew Cohen. He stops by for an update on the City Council budget and funds in our community. Plus, it's World Breastfeeding Awareness Day. Well, we do it the whole week. And experts from Montefiore Medical Center, they'll share the importance of this week and the events taking place in our community. And after that, get ready to celebrate. Let's get ready to celebrate. It's the first annual International Latin Music Festival, and we'll get a preview of what you can expect. And then we'll learn about a movement with a message to end human trafficking and domestic violence. And later on, Harlem Week 2015 is here, and we'll take a look at some great events you won't want to miss. So stay tuned. All this and more is headed your way because we are now open. Hello everybody, I'm your host, Dr. Bob Lee, and you're watching Open, and it's the one and only live interactive program that brings the Bronx and New York City straight to your TV set. We want to encourage you to stay connected to us. You can tweet us on BronxNet TV or follow us at Facebook at Open BronxNet Television. Leading off the show, our first guest is the City Council member of the 11th District and joins us today for a look at the council budget and his work in our community. We welcome Andrew Cohen. Councilman, welcome to the show.
Good morning, Bob. Thank you for having me.
You have this wonderful budget. You're talking about discretionary funds and everything?
Absolutely. Well, the big news is a $5,000 discretionary grant from BronxNet. So I thought this was
all right. Give them a big round of applause, everybody. Yes, indeed. A little louder, a little louder, a little louder.
But I really wanted to come on. I know how many of my constituents watch BronxNet, and also the programming that they deliver to the entire borough, I think, is important, and I was proud to support it.
Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate you and all that the council is doing. Can you tell us a little bit about the City Council budget? Tell us how this is activated.
Well, there's kind of, I think of it as sort of as two ways. One, there's the whole citywide budget. We adopted a budget in the end of June. It was $79 billion with a B. And I believe that's the fourth largest budget, the federal government, the state of New York, the state of California, and then the city of New York.
That deserves another big round of applause.
It's required by law to be balanced, and it's always on time, so that part we have down pat. And then there's the specific part of the budget that we get for the district.
Yes.
And I get some capital money for the district, and I get some expense money for programming like for BronxNet.
Yeah. Councilman, what is the process? How does this all come about?
It's a little bit of chaos, controlled chaos. The mayor comes out with a preliminary budget. The city council then presents a response to that budget. Then there's the executive budget, and we go back and forth until we come to an agreement on the size of the budget and then the particular allocations within the budget.
And who is this budget allocated to?
All the city agencies, are all funded through the city budget. Police, fire, our schools, all go through the city budget. Yeah. And then there's like I said, the council, as a council member, I get a certain amount of money of capital money that I put in the budget and a certain amount of expense money I put in the budget.
So you get some nonprofit, community-based organizations.
Exactly.
Community boards.
Exactly, like Riverdale Neighborhood House, Moshula Montefiore Community Center. Those are all organizations that I'm able to support.
Why is it so important that people understand how the process is formulated and where the money goes and everything?
Well, as we talked about previously, this year we did participatory budgeting in the 11th Council District, which allowed people to actually have a vote and how money was spent, capital money was spent in the district. And people, it's your tax money. You should know how it's spent, and participatory budgeting gives people the opportunity to actually have a say in how it's spent. So I think that's very important. I make sure that everyone knows how I'm spending their tax money.
Yeah, so they take a portion of the tax money and they allocate it to the city council to give away into the community.
I dedicated $1 million of capital money, which people got to decide how it was spent by way of vote. We went all throughout the district. The 11th Council District goes all the way from Riverdale to Bedford Park to Norwood to Wakefield, Woodlawn, when everybody had an opportunity to vote and decide how some of that money was spent.
Yeah. And people get back to you on how it has helped their organization.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you know, one of the discretionary grants I regularly give is to the Lehman College Performing Arts Center. And they're really dependent on that grant every year. It's $10,000, and it really goes to support the programming. I don't, you know.
Oh, we hear a lot about what they're doing there. That's very helpful. I'm sure they're really appreciative of all that you do for them.
And brings great cultural programs to the Bronx, so I want to support that.
And some of the other things that you do? As far as budgeting?
A lot of things for kids. Kids and seniors are always, you know, at the top of my priority list. So we have Bedford Park Senior Center, Riverdale Senior Services, the Y, and I make sure that they get funding for all sorts of things, computer programming, so that seniors can take classes in computers. We built a teen rec center at the Amalgamated over here. So those are all things that...
I've been to some of those senior centers. You have those people dancing and everything. I mean, they're walking there doing line dances, and it's a wonderful thing to see.
But the city sort of provides some, you know, to make sure that people can keep a roof over their head at the senior centers. And the city council supplements that so that there are some of those extras and nice things that people really enjoy, the trips, the transportation.
What's some of the things that stand out in your mind? I mean, as far as you giving back and helping the community?
Well, one particular capital project, it's not built yet, but that I think will be great is in Riverdale, there's a Spuyten Duyvil playground that has a water element to it, but it's a horrible concrete tub. And in this year, Senator Klein and I are partnering to get capital money to redo that, to make it a nice sprinkler kind of center of activity where I think a lot of parents and kids will go and play and really enjoy that in hot weather like today.
That's beautiful. Now, I know a lot of people, you get a lot of phone calls. Your office receives a ton of phone calls.
We do.
As an elected official, what's the, I guess, the biggest thing that they call you about?
Well, the city council member is sort of like your first line in government. So I get a lot of pothole complaints, people having trouble, landlord, social services, really everything that impacts people in their daily life. People feel comfortable calling my office, and they should. I have a staff of 6 people who all are ready and willing and able to try and help my constituents.
Well, Councilman, thank you so much for your service. Is there anything that we missed that you want to tell our listening audience or viewing audience?
I just want to reiterate how proud I am to support BronxNet, so that's great.
Thank you so much. Where can we go to get more information on discretionary funds and budgeting? And
I'm on Twitter, I'm on Facebook, we have a council website. Try to be pretty accessible.
All right, give him a big round of applause, everybody. The councilman is in the house. Councilman Cohen, thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Stick around for a little while. All right, we got to take a quick break right here, but we'll be right back with more Open. Stay tuned.
Wow, these are really good.
You act surprised. Practice makes perfect.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
I grew up in the housing projects of Cleveland. I didn't even know that life could be any better than it was. Education for me has been a way to get away from the agony of what was normal life. I want to be able to impact the community, not just look back on where I came from, but to reach back to where I came from and pull some people up with me. My name is David, and I am your dividend.
Body language can tell you all sorts of things. Like someone is having a stroke. Know the sudden signs. Learn fast. Face drooping, arm weakness, speech difficulty. Time to call 911 and get them to a hospital immediately. Learn the body language and spot a stroke fast.
Every budget, so don't accept defeat. Now you can get covered and still buy me treats.
You take care of your pets. Now it's their turn to take care of you. Visit getcoveredamerica.org to learn about your health insurance options.
And welcome back, everybody. I'm your host, Dr. Bob Lee, and you're watching Open. Hey, it's World Breastfeeding Week, and Montefiore Medical Center has a number of events taking place to keep you educated and informed. Joining us now to share more, we have Dr. Talitha Lisa Marie Bruni. Told you I was going to say the whole thing, Doc. Paula Ferrante and America Trevino. We welcome you guys to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yes, I was talking off camera that I used to do the Breastfeeding Awareness Day that they used to have. It was over at the park right across from the old North General Hospital. And they used to have people out there, and we had different companies showcasing their products and everything, and doctors got on stage and they were just talking back and forth to the people out there who were breastfeeding their babies. And it was a very interesting day. It was like, I think from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock, and lots of information went back and forth. But I wanted to know, because I saw a pretty older kid breastfeeding, and I wanted to know, well, how long can you breastfeed for?
That's subjective. That's as long as the mom wants and as long as the child wants. In Europe, they do that all the time until 3, 4 years old.
But the kid's feet are not supposed to reach the floor if he's in your lap.
No, they can.
They can?
They can walk to you.
He looked like he was about 5, 6 years old. I don't know.
So there's no number in terms of an answer. It varies from culture to culture. Like Paula said, in some cultures they breastfeed till 3 or 4 years old. The recommendation often is exclusive for 6 months and then up to a year with other foods. But mothers can go past that, depending on their preference.
Okay. What is what is the meaning of World Breastfeeding Week? Why did we come up with this? Because I guess we wanted to create the awareness, but you tell it.
So it's a global event. It's celebrating breastfeeding worldwide. It's actually more of a breastfeeding month. We target, it's from the 1st to the 7th is the official World Breastfeeding Week, but often there are events throughout the month of August. But it's really promoting, educating, supporting, and bringing out the awareness for breastfeeding worldwide.
Yes, it's definitely to make moms aware that they have a right to breastfeed anywhere they want, and that there is also a Bill of Rights for breastfeeding, which tells the mom that if she's going back to work, her employer has to give her time to pump.
Yeah. Wow. And there's a lot of things going on, in those categories. What are some of the medicinal benefits of breastfeeding?
Well, breast milk is the natural thing for the baby to drink, so it's easier for that baby to digest the breast milk, to get everything that it needs from the breast milk. It helps to protect the baby against a lot of infections. There's research that says that babies that receive mom's breast milk have higher IQs. Benefits from moms also. It decreases the risk of breast cancer, ovarian cancer. It helps her to bounce back from the pregnancy a little bit quicker. It's more economical, so a lot of benefits.
Less colds and things of that nature.
It's species specific.
Yeah, wow. Now, why did we switch off years ago to cow's milk?
formula companies came in and they have lots of money, so they can do a great campaign. And people just got away from breastfeeding. And now we're trying to change the culture.
There you go. I have an important question. It was brought up, I was out there, and somebody said, well, asked the question, can men breastfeed?
Yeah, if they have one of those
devices.
Those devices, they have this plate, and they had it in a movie. One of those movies with Robert De Niro when he did that with his grandchild.
No, but that was a serious question that somebody asked. Yeah.
So it's a good question in terms of fathers always want to know how they can support their partners and assist in taking care of the baby and feeding. There are a lot of other ways they can help support in terms of holding the baby, comforting baby when mother is trying to sleep.
Skin to skin.
Doing skin to skin. They cannot anatomically breastfeed, but they can be very helpful and supportive.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you can act like the baby in your chest. Here's the bottle.
Well, if they can put the baby skin to skin, that alone helps the baby because they hear the heartbeat, they feel the breathing, they feel the warmth of daddy.
Helps them to calm down and
and we can grow up with that. Tell us, what are some of the other advantages of breastfeeding?
It's economical. It's environmentally, it helps. There's no cans, there's no bottles thrown into the waste. It's always the right temperature. It's always there. You don't have to get up in the middle of the night to prepare a bottle.
And what do you tell a woman if they want to feed the baby formula?
Well, as long as they know what the benefits of breastfeeding are and they have made an intelligent decision, then we respect their right. That's what they want to do.
What should people know before if they're thinking about getting pregnant? What would you tell them about the whole process and how to come out of it on the other end, breastfeeding?
I think they need to start to get information so they understand the reasons why it would be beneficial for themselves and for their baby, so that they can make that educated decision. They need to know that there's help out there for them. So the majority of the nurses in our hospitals are trained to help them with breastfeeding. I think the majority.
So Montefiore does have something in place to educate women.
Yes, we try and do a lot of the education in the prenatal period because research has actually showed that mothers who are educated and come with a decision to breastfeed prior to having a baby are more likely to be successful. Yes. So we do try and do a lot of the education in the prenatal classes. WIC is a good source of information, and we offer classes in the hospital as well.
Is there a main message you would like to communicate to moms who just had babies?
Well, I'm a mom who just had a baby. She's going to be one, but that it is attainable. It can be challenging, and sometimes there are bumps in the road. But breastfeeding is an attainable goal, and you should never give up.
Never give up.
Right.
Any last words?
Oh, I just had my first grandchild, and my daughter has really been breastfeeding like a champ. So I'm really proud of her.
Do you have an event coming up?
Yes, we do. This is World Breastfeeding Week, and Wednesday we're going to be at the Bronx Zoo for anyone who would like to have information on breastfeeding. We'll be there from 1 o'clock until around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and hoping that lots of moms stop by our table and we can talk to them about it and give them information.
All right, Breastfeeding Awareness Week. Everybody get on down. What's the address again?
At the Bronx Zoo or our
at the Bronx Zoo.
The Bronx Zoo, we're going to be at the Crane Pavilion.
Well, thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Did we miss anything?
Us. Yeah.
Any last words? I know you were ready to say something.
I wanted to say that there's help out there. 311, the WIC that Paula had said, La Leche League. The majority of the hospitals have lactation consultants, so there's help out there for the moms that are having difficulties.
Thank you guys so much. And where can we go for more information? Is there a website or something?
So you can call at Montefiore at 718-904-4105 for more information about the events that we're having throughout the month this month.
All right.
And also for the schedule of classes.
And a lot of times just 311. they can get information 311 also.
Well, you know, you guys are a wealth of information. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
know more, you know, about this. You guys are always welcome to come on, okay?
Oh, great. Thank you.
Dr. Talitha Lisa Marie Bruni, OB-GYN and co-chair of the Breastfeeding Committee at Montefiore. Paula Ferrante, Montefiore lactation nurse, and Miss America is in the house. Miss America Trevino, Montefiore lactation nurse. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a short break, but first, the Bronx Museum recently held a panel discussion featuring women of the Young Lords activist group. Rina Valentin, Café con Leche lady, was there. She has a story.
These issues that we talk about in this paper 45 years ago apply today. They apply today.
We're here at the Bronx Museum for the 1040 Lounge series, presenting the women of the Young Lords as they share their experience and history of the Revolutionary Party.
The Young Lords organization emerged like a lightning bolt in 1969 at the tail end of one of the most thunderous decades of American history. The politics and organizational structure of the Young Lords was inspired by the Black Panther Party. They were the children of the Puerto Rican migration of the post-World War II period, who grew up in poor communities here in the Bronx, in the Lower East Side, and El Barrio.
Tell me what tonight meant for you.
Well, it's an incredible night. I love that there were so many people here, high energy. People are ready to build another movement. It's a time for women coming together, but it's a time for our whole community to come together.
I mean, to see the audience, this is a full audience, and it's intergenerational. You have young people here that were born after the 1980s. You've got people here that were born before 1950s. You got myself in the generation and born in the 1960s, right? So it really is great to see that interest. And as someone that represents El Barrio, where the Young Lords really originated, and being able to see the exhibit that's happening here at the Bronx Museum, it really is a wonderful contribution to the Puerto Rican community and to the history of New York City as well.
This is like not a dead museum, but it's brought it alive, and I'm floored. This is I've been to a lot of events about the Young Lords. This is the best one I have ever attended.
Tell us what that meant for you, looking into that audience today of a lot of young individuals.
So the legacy starts from before us. I mean, I was born into it, many of us were born into it, right? It was our purpose, our passion to really make right the world.
I think it's beautiful. I think it's good to see the generations. I have two generations here, my sons and my grandsons.
A lot of young women and men interested of what happened in the Young Lords Party, but the issues are still here. We can't be a people and a family if we have sexism and racism that still exists.
This event was a way of establishing those ties and those connections, because I don't know how many more years I got left, but these young people are going to move it forward.
Tonight's event was attended by an intergenerational audience, leaving us inspired with the knowledge that the Young Lords' goals and missions are still relevant today, 50 years later. I'm Rina Valentin, reporting for BronxNet.
Hello, good people of the Bronx and beyond. Welcome to A Life in Art.
Welcome back, everybody. The Not On My Watch campaign works to spread awareness of human rights and issues. And joining us to share more about their upcoming conference, we have Rev Q English. The Rev is in the house. They said, just call her Rev Q. Everybody calls her Rev Q.
Yeah, they do.
Rev,
yeah, they do.
You've been doing so many great things in our community. Can you
Bob.
tell us about this coalition that you're heading?
Oh, the New York City Faith-Based Coalition Against Human Trafficking and Domestic Violence. So it's a coalition comprised of faith leaders from across the city, all 5 boroughs, as well as our government officials agencies that are doing work on the ground in this area. Our public safety officers are involved. So it's a coalition of minds coming together around these atrocities.
Yeah, I mean, human trafficking and domestic violence has been happening for years.
It has been happening for years, but the sad part about it is it has increased. And it's not just a third world country problem.
Right here in America.
It's right here in America and right here in New York City. In New York City, we lost over 2,300 children to sex trafficking. Average age 12 to 14 years old. So while we were lamenting over the 200 girls lost in Lagos, Nigeria, right here in New York, we were having our own issues, and we still are.
And nobody's talking about it.
Well, they have people that are talking, but there needs to be greater awareness. It needs to really be in our face because it really is everyone's problem.
So how do we begin to stem this problem? Because if it's happening like that, I mean, there has to be something done. There has to be money's allocated or something.
You know, it's a $99 billion business, right? So this is not a mom and pop operation.
Yeah.
This is operated by people in high places.
Well, making a lot of money.
Making a lot of money. So, you know, we have the need to address demand in this, as well as look at how globally they're looking to possibly decriminalize pimps, brothels, and buyers of sex, so that United States of America, we can have, pimps can be a legitimate business, so my grandchild can apply to be a sex worker. That's why we say, not on my watch. It's a movement.
Not on my watch.
It's a
now let's
movement.
break it down for people who don't know what trafficking is.
Okay.
It's not cars and stuff going by and somebody directing traffic out in the streets. Break it down and let people understand.
Good
Help
question.
them to realize what it's all about.
Good question. There's two forms of trafficking when we say human trafficking. We're dealing with labor trafficking, and we're also dealing with sex trafficking. What we're emphasizing and what we're talking about today is the sex trafficking market. So that is where we have pimps, those that consider themselves owners of these children and adults, and they actually pimp them out to be bought by those that have a nasty inclination to want to do those types of
And they
acts.
stay in this country, or they ship them out?
It can go
all over
either
the
way.
world?
It's all over the world. You know, it's not isolated. I mean, we have a large immigrant population that suffers from it. We have our teenagers that's happening right in our schools. I actually almost lost a first grader from a fourth grader trying to recruit them in front of their school.
In front of the school?
In front of a school in Harlem. The simple line was, did your mother give you lunch money? His answer was no. He said, well, let me show you where you can get lunch money and more. Took him to the trafficker, and if it wasn't for a public safety officer that knew the child and his mother, that would not be my story right now. My 22-year-old, right in my house of worship, a girl that was dating somebody, when Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde actually abducted her, took her to Miami, and this is happening everywhere. So this has been happening, but we need to create
And these are kids. How old?
They're kids. I mean, the first grader, what is it, what, 6 years old? And then you have 22-year-olds. The 12 to 14 are just being snatched. We have to be more proactive as parents. We got to know where our children are. We have to, you know, even little simple things.
This is like modern day slavery.
It is modern day slavery. It is absolutely modern day slavery. And and a lot of them are getting away with it. We need to raise awareness in our policies. We need to have tougher policy laws surrounding these issues. I mean, there's a lot to be done. And how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time, right? And Rome wasn't built in a day. So there are things that are deliberate steps that we got to take, action steps that we have to take to see the change that we want to see.
What are some of the things that we have in place that can begin to steamroll and create a snowball effect to try to tackle
We have a lot of agencies that are tackling this right on the forefront. Our commissioner, Rosemont Pierre-Louis, who heads the Office of Domestic Violence. Last year we had 282,000 calls regarding domestic violence. That's a lot. However, she's doing some incredible work, attaching yourself, individuals and organizations that would work with her in helping the city become aware and help these victims would be positive. They have what they call justice centers throughout the boroughs. Staten Island is going to launch in December that will provide help for domestic violence victims. You have Sanctuary for Families. You have Covenant House. You have, you know, our Not On My Watch movement. Just by emailing us at nomwnyc@gmail.com will cause you to get involved. We have a Facebook page, Not On My March Movement NYC, that you can automatically connect to. We have training and advocacy. There's a lot of agencies that are doing good work, but what we're trying to do is create the greater visibility so that their work can be known, so that we can see more of these victims become survivors.
Yeah, but wait. A lot of you watching us today have little brothers and sisters or friends and family members. You can't even imagine if somebody in your family got snatched off the street. This is so serious. This is so, because it almost happened to my little girl. I wasn't there. It almost happened to my little girl. And she was about 4 years old, and she was in the grocery store, standing next to the door, looking at the potato chips, and a man had her by the hand. You know, I would have went crazy.
I don't think we'll be sitting right here.
You can't even hear the words that I'm about to express right here.
We wouldn't even be sitting here right now if that had happened to either one of us. But it's that subtle. By the hand, lady shopping, he picks her up in his arm, walking out the door. In a matter of seconds, if she hadn't turned, it would have been just like that.
It would have been over. And the man ran. He had a long overcoat.
Oh, wow.
My wife was telling me, and he ran down the steps to the train station. So this person is probably still out there.
Probably still out there. We've got a lot of work to do, Bob, and it's not an easy task, but it's a task that can be it's accomplishable by putting more feet on the ground, by creating more grassroots movements, by hanging out in Albany and in Federal. That's why this conference is so important that I'm having on Thursday. Tomorrow,
tell us about it.
Yeah. Actually, Thursday, we're going to have our national conference. We got Homeland Security coming in. We got the New York State coalitions coming in. We got government and grassroots and faith leaders and all of us coming together to really empower one another, strategize, put out our marching order. We're looking to have about at least 500 people in that audience, being in power and creating advocates and hearing from those that have their foot on the ground as to what is going on. It's Thursday, August 6th. It's an all-day conference. It's free. It happens at the Salvation Army, 120 West 14th Street, 120 West 14th Street. It's an all-day conference. And tomorrow, we're going to have that press conference on the steps of City Hall against amnesty, because we do not want to see pimps and brothels and buyers of sex decriminalized. They have to be accountable, and we have to make a stand that not on my watch are they going to come to our state and think they're going to legitimize pimps who average $1.2 million a year in our country. But what do we need to do? We need to help our young boys. We need to help our young girls so they can find that there are other options than selling their bodies and then snatching girls and selling them for pay. There are other options. We have to learn how to be more, this is an intervention action, but we need to be more preventative in creating opportunities for our children so these atrocities can stop.
But what do you tell parents and families? This is where family really has to step up and become a part of a real family, looking out for one another.
Looking out. It's going back to the days when...
What do you tell parents? What do you tell families?
It's going back to the days when the village raised the children, right? So the families is, every child is our child. That's how we take responsibility. We start caring again. We start working toward restoring neighbor back in the hood. We start being that village once again that looks out for our neighbors. When we see something, we really do say something. It's not okay to watch a young boy beat up a girl. It's not okay to watch them curse them out. It's not okay to have our children treated any kind of way. We've got to start becoming more proactive and joining the movement as an individual. Not on my watch.
Where can we go for more information?
NOMWNYC@gmail.com. Go right to the Facebook page. That's the best place right now. It's Not On My Watch NYC. Not On My Watch NYC. Then you can call 718-231-1033. Join us on the steps of City Hall from 10 to 11 tomorrow. Join us at the press conference on Thursday, August 6th.
Everybody shout it out. Not on my watch.
Not on my watch.
On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Not on my watch.
That's right. Reverend Q, thank you so much.
Thank you, Bob.
Come by and share more information, okay?
Absolutely.
We
thank
need it.
you.
Okay.
That was wonderful.
We got to take a quick break right here, but we'll be right back with more Open. Stay right there. Not on my watch.
Not on my watch.
Adopting a new pet is a rewarding experience. And Shelter Pets makes super pets. Your new best friend will steal your heart, bring you happiness, and enrich your life for years to come. you can make a difference in the life of an animal. Adopt and bring home a shelter pet today. To find out more, visit theshelterpetproject.org.
Separate raw meats from other foods by using different cutting boards. 3,000 Americans will die from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
Can you help me with this? My new dad teaches me all kinds of stuff.
Sure.
He helps me with homework.
That would be 3.6795.
Thanks.
Yep.
He helps me with my decision making.
I wouldn't use this one. Ever.
And he's even teaching me how to drive.
And that's why cars have bumpers.
I'm learning so much.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are.
When you're out there, there's no telling what you'll find.
I see it, I see it. Oh, look at you.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
And welcome back to Open, everybody. Welcome back to BronxNet. You know, BronxNet correspondent Bobby C. went out onto the field at Yankee Stadium and has all the latest for us in the world of sports. Let's take a look.
A chance to catch up with a longtime friend, sports writer Howard Golden of the Bronx News. Talk some Yankee baseball here on a Friday. Howard, the Bronx Bombers coming off the All-Star break, playing some really great baseball in the month of July. What are your thoughts so far this season on how the Yankees have played?
Well, particularly as of late, they're doing terrific. They're 12-4 this month. They've won their 5th straight series. They're 12 games above 500, the first time in 2 years, and they look very strong.
Yankees have played really well here in the Bronx, too. Yankee Stadium's become a very good place for them these days.
Yes. They're not only drawing good crowds and making a few bucks, but they're also doing very well. They've won 21 of their last 28 contests here in the stadium, which is a .750 percentage, so they're really helping themselves by how well they do in front of the home folks.
Yankees on the road right now, but the July 31st trading deadline is upon us. I know Brian Cashman has said that he doesn't think the Yankees are going to make any moves, but do you see the Bronx Bombers maybe making some moves here for the rest of the stretch run?
I think it would be surprising if they don't, since they generally are good for making some moves. There are several veteran pitchers who have good track records over the years, and they also may be looking for another infielder who hits a little better than several of theirs right now.
I know recently on the show, one of the things that I had said to the fans at home was I had to give props to both Brett Gardner and Mark Teixeira. I had been critical of them in the past. I wasn't sure if Gardy would hit that well at the major league level, but the past 2 seasons, you can make a serious case that he's been arguably the best Yankee in pinstripes. And Mark Teixeira was someone, too, that used to bat 300, and I know he's batting in that 250, 260 range, but the home runs and the RBIs are there. He's really bounced back from some injuries. How important have both Mark and Brett been to the team this year?
They've been extremely important. The fact that Gardner was chosen as an all-star for the first time and he's approaching 32 shows the difference that he's made as of the last year or two. Teixeira as well seems to have bounced back very well from his injury, and I think we should not be neglectful of Alex Rodriguez and the contribution he's made.
You know, it's funny that you say that, Howard, because I think a lot of it with Teixeira and Gardner has been making adjustments, and you can make the same case for Alex Rodriguez. He's made some serious adjustments and just moving from being the regular third baseman to the everyday DH.
I think he's made not only an adjustment of that, but he's trying to show, I would think, without knowing his mindset, that he can do as well as far beyond what has been expected of him this year, and could do it without any artificial stimulus.
And Alex has really been the comeback player of the year. Probably should have been an all-star this year as well.
I agree with you. I could understand why they didn't want to take the focus away from other people, as he would have, as he always is, becomes the center of attention. He probably prefers that he doesn't as well. But he has done an outstanding job. It's barely a little more than half the season, and he already has 20 home runs. And he's hitting like in the 280s.
Yankees quickly approaching on almost having a double-figure lead in the American League East. Do you see them winning this division? I know a couple of the teams have been up and down, but the Yankees have made a strong case for being one of the best teams in the American League this year.
It looks like it right now with the lead that they've had. They haven't had a 12 game above 500 in a couple of years. They probably have a bigger lead now than they also have in a couple of years, and it's already past halfway mark of the season. It looks to me good because they'll be home as much as they'll be on the road, and they have a great advantage here in the stadium.
Now, New Yorkers here in this town have not really been accustomed to the playoffs, which is so hard to say the last couple of years, both in the Bronx and then across the way in Queens with the Mets. But I think there's a good chance this year that both the Yankees and the Mets could make the playoffs.
I think there's a very good chance, particularly here in the Bronx, with how the Yankees have done, and the fact that this would be, if they don't do it the third straight year, which I doubt will go over well with ownership, the third straight year without a playoff, I think the Mets have an opportunity too. They're only a couple of games behind Washington, which has a very strong club, and they'll also be playing their National League East opponents as the year passes on.
I think it would be remiss not to mention the Mets. I know that their offense has struggled a little bit, but the pitching has been so incredible. A lot of young, up-and-coming stars in that rotation. What are your thoughts and feelings about the Mets moving forward in the second half, and then just the future for this amazing club?
Well, I think even more than the second half, the next several years, they have very young pitching. They have very strong pitching. They have even with their new Mats, who got injured, and then should have him as well yes, local boy in the years to come. I think they have great strength in their pitching. I think, though, their hitting has a great deal to be desired, and I think it's questionable, to be honest, whether the organization will make the kind of moves that are necessary to get the hitting that can conform with their outstanding pitching.
Howard, you cover both the Yankees and the Mets for the Bronx News. Talk a little bit about some of the articles that you have in the paper these days. You do such a fantastic job, and you've been a longtime friend of the show. Been in the studio and at the ballpark. We love having you on.
You're more than kind. I wrote about something not so much with the game that I covered last week, this past few days, which was a press conference held across the street in what was the stadium, not accidentally, about a new Lou Gehrig film which is going to be produced. And the producer of it, and who was there and I got to speak with, is the grandson of George Steinbrenner, Robert Malloy, a young fellow, like maybe in the mid-20s at the most. And so I think it'll be interesting. What they're trying to do is put together a film that not only speaks about him as a player, but speaks about him as a human being and how he came to terms and how he conducted himself while suffering with ALS, which they now term the Lou Gehrig disease. And even though this is just the first announcement and there's a very long way to go, they have a great precedent with The Pride of the Yankees, which was shown in 1942 and yet got 11 Academy Award nominations. So perhaps we'll be seeing another inspirational and moving film of the great Yankee Lou Gehrig and the great human being Lou Gehrig in the future, who also lived in the Bronx even after his days as a Yankee. He lived in Riverdale, where he worked for the probation department for the city of New York up until he could no longer work.
We definitely love reading the articles in the Bronx News, and we love you taking the time out here today. Excited to see if the Yankees could pull things together here.
I think it'll be a great excitement because they've drawn in excess of 40,000 several times within their 6-game homestand that previously just ended. And I think it'll be a great excitement to the city, to the Bronx, and to Yankee fans all over the world.
Thanks again, Howard.
Thank you.
That was the 4-on-1 on Gotham baseball here in New York with Bronx News reporter Howard Golden, talking a little bit of the Yankees, a little bit of the Mets. But baseball season, of course, right now the star of the show here in New York sports. But football just around the corner. Training camps are now set to open. Both the Giants and Jets will be back in business. We'll have more coverage from the Giants next week, but we wanted to catch you up on some of the things that have been going on. One of the big stars of the offseason has been Giants wide receiver Odell Beckham, who had, of course, the catch of arguably the century. We wanted to turn back the clock, take a look back at that catch, and get you filled in on some football. The one-handed grab by Beckham was compared tonight to that great catch by David Tyree in the Super Bowl, but Beckham talked about making such a great catch and having it come in a loss.
The ball couldn't have been put anywhere else. Perfect spiral. A ball like that, it makes it a lot easier to make a catch like that. It really means nothing without a win. You still go home at the end of the day with a loss, and that's just not a good feeling.
He's a phenomenal talent. That's something that he works on each and every day. He works on a warm-up. So for him, it's just another day in the park. For us, it's wow. But he's a guy. He's a playmaker. He's hungry. He has a lot of passion for the game, and I don't see one guy stopping him.
Both head coach Tom Coughlin and star quarterback Eli Manning talked about the lost season in the postgame.
You leave Dallas 3 minutes. That's a lot of time for them. But it's still, disappointing. With a minute left, 3 timeouts, all we need is to get in field goal range and not get a first down. That situation is disappointing.
I thought we had a lot of numbers tonight. I thought a lot of people contributed. Obviously, Beckham had the great catch, which excited everybody. But we weren't able to win. So back to the drawing board we go.
We'll have more on the Giants and the Jets next week in studio. That's your sports. I'm Bobby C.
If you want to stay in the know about the latest happenings en español, check out Diálogo Abierto, BronxNet's own Spanish show, Wednesdays, 6:30 p.m. on Channel 67. The latest in news, arts, culture, politics, and what's going on in your neighborhood. Diálogo Abierto, the best way to stay connected in Spanish. See you there. Te esperamos.
And welcome back, everybody. On August the 22nd, the first annual International Latin Music Festival is going to take place, filled with music, games, entertainment, and a whole lot more. Joining us for a preview, we have the founder, Tanya Hurtado, and sponsor, Autumn. Say your last name?
Golinkin.
Golinkin. All right, they got it. It's a different way up here now, but I got it the right way. Golinkin. Autumn Golinkin. Well, we welcome you guys to the show.
Thank you for having us.
And I know everybody's talking about this International Music Festival. You've been working on stuff like this for some time now, right?
Yes.
Tell us about it. Tell us about the festival.
Well, it's the first of its kind. And I collaborated with Urban Legends. Their collaboration is bringing in the Spanish hip-hop and Espanol artists.
Now, Tanya, you've been doing stuff like this for a while, though, right?
Right.
This is the first of its kind. It has a new twist to it.
Yes, because it's focusing more on the Latin community this particular year. Especially in light with everything that's been going on with Mr. Trump. Yeah. So it's a free event. It's family orientated. Again, as always, we're promoting education, poetry, music, singing, dancing. We're gonna have bachata, salsa, merengue, reggaeton.
Yes.
We're actually bringing the sabor.
And they're dancing already before we don't need no music.
So that's exactly what we're doing. We're just bringing the extra spice to the Bronx. It's going to be located at 135th Street until 137th on Willis Avenue, right across the 3rd Avenue Bridge. So we've been promoting this hard in the Bronx as well as Spanish Harlem. We invite everybody. Again, it's a family-orientated event, and our prime goal is to embrace all cultures, not just the Latin community, but all cultures. That's why we labeled it international. With our fingers crossed, we're going to be able to bring in, through sponsorship, a Colombian female rapper who has a huge following, and she's really big in Colombia. And again, everyone's invited but Mr. Trump.
Why? Why not Mr. Trump?
Nah, there's no room. So,
what if
rain or
he said, here's $1 million?
Negative. I can't be brought. Anyway, rain or shine, we will be there from 11 a.m. until 6 p.m. We have, of course, a lot of sponsors that are helping with this, and what people need to realize that these events are free to them, the public, only through the ability of sponsorship.
Is Autumn one of the sponsors?
Autumn is definitely one of the sponsors, but since he's here in person, I just roughly want to give certain thank yous, and I want to mention a few other sponsors.
Go ahead.
Of course, Autumn is here from Forever Young Bruckner. We have Mamita Ices. Is a major sponsors. They will be on site giving out free ices for trial. Sapito Sports Bar and Grill, which is located on East Tremont. They are known for their henny coladas. They're awesome. And also here in the Bronx is Success Clothing Line. They will be sponsoring as well as providing us with our volunteer and staff shirts. They're excellent clothing line. They're located right off of Westchester Avenue. Again, born braced in the Bronx. Gala Latina.
Gala Latina.
Gala Latina. Casa Robinson is a bed and breakfast in Puerto Rico.
Oh, I thought you were going to say right here in the Bronx.
No. See, that's why we're called CCP Unlimited, because although we're founded and based in the Bronx, we're not limited to the Bronx.
It's international.
Yes. And we also have Sparkle Ice as well. So before I go on, I just want to give a huge, huge special thanks to Urban Legends, Lieutenant Perez, and all of her community affair officers, especially the 4-0 and the 4-2. When originally, that's right, police officer community. Originally, when we submitted the permits for this particular event, and because of the title and it being a Latin, they said, why won't you consider, like, not our local precinct, just somebody in general said, why won't you take this festival to Queens? There's a big majority of Latins there. I said, because I'm from the Bronx. And there's a lot of Latinos in the Bronx. And if I can't take care, if I can't,
right across the
if I can't take care of my own backyard, I have no business being in nobody else's backyard. So I need, my overall objective is to change the stereotype and the negativity that the Bronx has. And there's a lot of beautiful people and places in the Bronx, and we need to promote that. And this is why I do what I do. This is a first of its kind. All of our concepts are doing events and doing things that have never been done in the Bronx.
Well, you know what?
Light.
It's international now, so Latinos, Latinas from all over the place, Boricuas are going to be in the house from everywhere, all 5 boroughs and throughout the country.
That being said, our special thanks to Maria Vega for Botancia, as well as Eileen Perez, my DJs, DJ Tiny, and Club Killers. All of these people are combining their skills and their knowledge and their connections to help me pull off this event. This is not a me, this is a we.
You got to hear some of this. I got some of the Club Killer mixes, y'all.
Most
Big up to DJ Tiny.
Yes, and again, you know, it's nothing but love, and it's a free event. And the other day I posted on Facebook, and someone else posted something on Facebook, and they said, "Oh, but that neighborhood is hot." No, it's not. You're right. It's going to be Latin hot, sabor hot. It's August 22nd. It's going to be 80-degree weather, and we're going to be dancing up a storm. It's going to be like, you know, what was his name? I forgot.
You got the whole thing pictured out.
You already know. And also this year, we're going to be celebrating the 5 elements of hip-hop, which is the DJ, your MC, rapper, graffiti, the b-boy, the human beatbox, and the knowledge of the culture. We have a big segment featured on the b-boy this year.
And that's what makes it international also, because hip-hop, the culture is all over the world.
All over.
Did I tell you that story? Did I tell you that story? Real briefly. And you know, I was doing a class from a master's degree at New York Institute of Technology, and the people had to bring in work and everything for their final project. And this young lady brought in a boom box, and she played the beat, and the thing was like,
That's your human beatbox.
and then the kid came in and started rapping. But the kid was from Japan. And it was like, wow. And then I began to realize that this culture and rap is all over the world.
Yes, it is.
International. So you got the International Music Festival. Save this date. Saturday, August 22nd is upon us. Time is flying. They're talking about back to school already.
I know.
So let's get this in back to school. It's going to be a fun-filled day. Everybody should come on down.
It's free.
It's free. And Audie, Audie, could I throw it in for sure?
Yeah, that's fine.
What part are you going to play? Because I know you're absorbing this whole thing. You said, hey, I don't have to say anything.
No, well, you know what? We're a social daycare center on Brockner Boulevard. We provide many different types of services for the elderly in the community, people that have certain disabilities, people that can't take care of themselves. So we bring them to our center, and we try to make it as comfortable and as social as an environment as possible. So very often we provide different types of entertainment, and that's where Tanya comes in. She brings us different types of entertainment all the time, from DJs to performers, I mean, singers, I mean, you know, you name it, she brings it. So we felt that it was very important for us to contribute to her event as a sponsor and, you know, try to make it and help it become as successful as possible.
Beautiful, beautiful.
The reason why I'm able to do that, I was blown away when I go to their center. A lot of these seniors, like he stated, are disabled, and they transport them with the luxury of these really nice vans. And some of them, due to their financial circumstances, are not able to go out. I mean, they take them to parks, pools, activities, museums, zoos. It's like, I'm jealous. I want to join.
Well, yeah, we provide free meals, breakfast, lunch. We have a beautician on site if they want to get their hair, their nails, and we have a social worker on site. So,
and some of them are going to come to the festival on the
12th. Some of them will definitely come to the festival.
You got buses and everything.
Yep.
Luxury liners picking them up and everything.
Yes.
Air conditioned.
You'll see our shirts all over the place.
Yeah, beautiful.
As well as our
Where can we get more information on this?
Okay, well, the Instagram is T for CCP on Instagram, as well as the Facebook. It is CCP Small Business Facebook. There's a lot of imposters out there, but it's Small Business CCP. You'll see my face, or actually this flyer right now is on the Facebook profile page.
Thank you so much. Give them a big hand, everybody. Tanya Hurtado, CEO, CCP Unlimited, and Autumn Golinkin. Thank you so much. He's from the Forever Young Brockner. Yes, Forever Young Brockner. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you very much.
Unfortunately, we're going to be there. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today's show, but I'd like to thank all of our guests for joining us and you, our viewer, for tuning in and checking it all out. If you missed any part of today's show, well, you can tune into the recablecast of Open at 5 and 10 p.m. And, well, you can watch anytime on the web, bronxnet.org. Boom. bronxnet.org. How do you say org in Spanish? Orge. Or you can catch an all-new episode Wednesday at 10 a.m. with our host, Darren Jaime. Don't forget about Rina Valentin, La Coffee con Leche, on 107.5. She's on Friday. For all of us here at BronxNet, have a great and enjoyable day. We love you all. You can catch me on tonight, right after the Quiet Storm. I'm the Dr. Bob Lee. Have a great, well, it's the BLS, the Bob Lee Show. Have a great and enjoyable day, and always remember this: what you are is God's gift to you, and what you make of yourself is your gift to God. So choose your choice and let your choice control the chooser. Catch you another day, another way. Love you. Peace.